doing First Things First, so we're going viral. Oh, this is great. So we're watching Tom versus Time yesterday, and we noticed something interesting. The next voice you're about to hear won't be us live right now. It is from the latest episode of Tom Brady's Tom versus Time. Is tonight a must-win for the Patriots?
It's week 5. They're 2-2. Of course tonight's a must-win for the Patriots.
It's a pretty damn big game now tonight. You lose this one, you're 2-3, you go home. You got to sit with that in your craw, and that sits in your stomach for the next 9 or 10 days.
To make judgments after 4 weeks, you know, about, oh, they're going to win the Super Bowl, or, oh, they're not going to make the playoffs, or nobody knows. I mean, there's still so much to go. It's like calling a boxing match after the end of the 3rd round. It only gets harder from here.
So, as you, first of all, that was pretty cool. As you guys
You
know,
heard Chris's laughing.
I know he was laughing. My Stephanie is a huge Tom Brady fan, huge. So she didn't see this. So of course I fudged it a little bit, and I said, you know, I basically sat down and interviewed Tom Brady in the latest episode of Tom. She's not going to see it, so what does she know?
My buddies text me. They're like, "Oh, how do you feel about Brady clowning you?" Listen, I feel vindicated. They won that game, right?
Yeah.
And now they're in the Super Bowl. So, I mean, obviously it was a must-win. And, by the way,
and Brady's not right.
Had they lost that game, they wouldn't have been the 1 seed. They wouldn't have. They needed every single win. I stand by all the commentary.
They couldn't have Jenna and I's voice on there because Jenna and I had picked them to go to the Super Bowl. So, Tom, you're wrong, okay? Jenna and I was on it, and Steph, Nick, yeah, you got to clown him and throw shade at him.
I'm not
Very
gonna lie.
good.
I'm a little worried that in upcoming episodes, there's going to be more.
Oh, I hope so. I hope he throws a
doubting
fireball
of
at you.
Brady coming up, because that was some of the nicer early season commentary. I just said they needed to win the game.
I'm actually enjoying it. All right, time for some stories to start your morning. The Warriors lost by 30 points to the Utah Jazz last night. CC calls it the Bermuda Triangle of destinations in the NBA. Steph and Durant combined to shoot 1 of 12 from 3. After the game, Steve Kerr called the performance disgusting basketball. Nick, any big takeaways from this, or was this just one of those rare off nights?
It's just sometimes when the Warriors fool around early in a game, they are not able to then just go into hyperdrive in the 3rd quarter. That's what happened last night. They just missed their shots. Steph and Durant, neither one, I think, hit 17 points. Like, it was just an off night for both of them, so they lose. To me, it's no big deal, no big takeaways.
Jenna, you remember we were growing up, the Bermuda Triangle, planes disappearing, ships disappearing. We're reading about it. It happens in Utah. And guys go out there and go to the club. They don't go any other city, Miami, New York, L.A.
No club?
They go drinking.
I don't think that's legal.
Something happens. Something happens at the hotel between there and the court. All right? So,
wild night at the Denny's in Salt Lake.
Moon's over Miami. DeMarcus Cousins broke his silence after suffering a season-ending Achilles injury. Cousins posted on Twitter, quote, "No lie, this expletive sucks." He then went on to add that he will, quote, "overcome it." CeCe, how tough is it for athletes to deal with these season-ending injuries like this?
It's really tough. We see more NFL players have been successful with it compared to NBA players. I believe that height or size has something to do with it. Haven't seen a lot of people in the NBA that have been successful with it. This is unfortunate. Playing the best basketball of his career, and I think in the best mental state that he's been in a long time.
Boogie Cousins, if you look at it, is the best player in NBA history to never play in a playoff game. The most accomplished, best player to never play in a single playoff game. That was going to end this year. It's now not going to end this year. I hope that he comes back from this better than Elton Brand did from the Achilles injury. And I hope if he doesn't stay with New Orleans, he goes to a good team, because Boogie Cousins deserves to play in the playoffs. And we've seen when he's on bad teams, he doesn't act the way he wants to be acting, and it messes with him mentally. He was playing the best basketball of his career. I hope it's just a seasoning injury, not a career-altering injury.
All right, finally, the Washington Redskins pulled off a huge trade, agreeing to bring Alex Smith over in a deal with the Chiefs, this ending their years of marginal interest in Kirk Cousins. Chris Carter, was this a good move for Washington?
I think Washington, for them to be able to get the quarterback for the next 3 or 4 years at a price that they felt that was good for the cap and for their team, because Coach Mangini, he made some great points as far as before free agency, before the draft, they can make other moves and have the cap flexibility, knowing that their quarterback is under contract. And, you know, I love the fact that a coach is in love with his quarterback. And that's what you have here when Jay Gruden deciding to make the trade to Kansas City and get a better option that he thought that was better than Kirk Cousins.
I don't know if it's that he's in love with Alex Smith, or to use the relationship analogy Coach Mangini used, if it's just a rebound. Like you were in a bad relationship before, and so the next one that comes along, you think you're in love. Because Jay Gruden and Kirk Cousins clearly weren't on the same page. Because what they have done here, they've traded a third-round pick. They have traded one of the best young corners in football, Kendall Fuller, to get an older, worse version of Kirk Cousins. I've watched Alex Smith very closely. He's been the quarterback for my favorite team, unfortunately, the last few years, and he's fine. He doesn't do anything amazing. I know his efficiency numbers were very good this year, but the season ended the way we knew it would. He's 33 years old. You're giving him this year at $17 million and then a 4-year, $94 million extension. And in order to have the pleasure of doing that, you had to get rid of a third-round pick and a young player. Why are you smiling?
I'm smiling because you used a word that I haven't used in a long time, and it was a word that we use as a reference towards a young lady when we thought that she was attractive. We used to have been like, man, she's fine. And you were like,
oh no, listen, Alex Smith isn't fine. He's fine.
yes.
I mean, there's a difference between
you
fine
seem let down.
and
you seem let down by them.
Yeah, there's a big difference.
I thought
I'm
the
glad
word you were going to say was efficient.
No,
He's efficient.
no, that's a different discussion. So I just don't. Kirk Cousins now, he is the best quarterback to be on the market that doesn't have coming off a significant injury in a long time. Like Peyton Manning was coming off a big injury, Drew Brees was coming off a big injury. So this is big for the league as a whole. What are you laughing at me again now?
What about Pat Mahomes?
Oh, well, that's a separate thing.
Fine.
He's fine.
Okay.
I'm excited about Pat Mahomes. There's no lie about that. Now, nobody cares about my hometown Kansas City Chiefs, but I do. And we finally have a quarterback we drafted. First-round quarterback since Todd Blackledge. Let the Mahomes era begin, America.
Let's go.
Thank you, CC.
Yeah. All right, back to the NBA. The Houston Rockets hosted Orlando last night. Some of the Houston Rockets hosted Orlando, mainly just James Harden. Harden had 60 points to go along with 10 boards, 11 assists in his triple-double. How about this? He was the first player in NBA history with 60 points in a triple-double. So the Rockets were playing without Chris Paul, Trevor Ariza, and Eric Gordon for most of the game. Nick, how impressive was James Harden's performance last night?
Impressive enough for me to say, for the first time in a decade, LeBron James shouldn't be the league MVP.
No.
James Harden should be the league MVP.
Man.
Team playing like this,
Good deal.
It is clearly the second best team in the NBA, clearly the team that has the best shot of unseating the most talented team ever, the Golden State Warriors. And he has done it with Chris Paul, he's done it without Chris Paul, he's done it with Eric Gordon, without Eric Gordon, with Clint Capella, without Clint Capella. And what he did last night, a 60-point triple-double, unprecedented in the history of basketball, goes neck and neck with Kobe's 81-point game as the most impressive regular season performances I've ever seen. And Harden did it. That shot right there that you just saw him leaning in trying to draw the foul and he hit, it was a 1-point game when he hit that. That shot right there, it was a 2-point game when he hit that. Why were they up 2? Because he had a step-back jumper we showed earlier in the highlight. Every single point mattered. He was absolutely brilliant. And a guy who could have won the MVP 3 years ago, but didn't. Steph got it. Could have won the MVP last year, but didn't. Russ got it. This year, he should be the clear-cut, at least through 50 games, MVP. Barring injury, I don't see that changing.
Nick, where does James Harden rank as the greatest players in the world? Right now? Right now.
Right now, I think he's 4th. I think it's LeBron, the 2 guys in Golden State, and him.
And of the top 5 players, he's probably the least talked about. We always try to make some type of excuse. The last 2 years, he didn't get robbed of the MVP, but what he was doing, we tried to discredit. Oh, well, he's not playing any defense. Oh, well, they're not winning. That game last night, in the historic part of it, I think it propels him on to getting that first time being MVP. And also, man, he doesn't have an MVP, and he also doesn't have playoff success. So if he's able to put those 2 things together, I think that we start changing the conversation. LeBron's always going to be there. Steph is going to be there for a minute. KD is going to be there. But Harden will be able to get in that conversation. We did talk about Kawhi Leonard. He's not playing. We were talking about the freak.
You know, Anthony, you said of the top 5 players. Of the top 8 players in basketball, Harden is the one most consistently disrespected. Like, if you were going through the top 8 guys, LeBron, KD, Steph, people might not like some of KD's Twitter antics, but nobody disrespects their game.
Yes.
Then there's Harden. Then after that, there's Russ. People adore Russ. Giannis, Anthony Davis, Kawhi Leonard. Those are your top 8 players in the league. All of those guys are by fans held in a higher esteem. I think probably because people don't like Harden's style. It's herky-jerky.
Yes.
It's below the rim. It's a lot of
It's a style
free
we've
throws.
never seen.
We never, especially this effectiveness, where he doesn't get enough credit is he's one of the very best passers in the league. He makes passes that only LeBron and maybe 1 or 2 other guys can make. And where he doesn't get enough credit is his durability. Prior to this, the hamstring injury a few weeks ago, this guy had played 80-plus games each of the last 4 years. He's always out there. He's always near the top of the league in minutes.
And how many people saw him coming out of college doing this?
No.
Man, nobody.
No, if they would have, OKC would have kept him.
Right. I mean, forget coming out of college, coming out of Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
I was living in Houston when they traded for him. When they traded Jeremy
People
Lamb.
question Houston giving him a max deal.
Yes. They thought, okay, so he's a really good 6th man. Since he's been there, he's been one of the 5 best players in the league, and he's going to be your league MVP. And again, 60, 10, and 11, never been done before. He has 3 50-point triple-doubles in the last year and a half. There's only been 8 in the history of the league. 3 by Russ, 3 by Harden, 1 by Wilt, 1 by Kareem. He's been unreal.
He's your MVP?
He's the MVP.
I'm not a bettor. I got money on the fact that you will change that a couple more times to some name that rhymes with Haran.
Oh, I mean, it's possible, but I would be. But right now, we got to see. I mean, Kevin Love did just get hurt. We'll see if the Cavs reel off like 15 straight. But right now, it's James Harden.
All right, coming up, does Doug Peterson have a secret edge over Bill Belichick? Next on First Things First.
We have had a bad influence on him.
Yes, we
You
have.
calling out people. Look, I'll make a bet.